Tonight's game on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. It seems only right, even though the Yankees, I'm sure at this point, wouldn't agree, that this series should be a 7-game series. A rematch of last year's ALCS. The Yankees so close to a sweep. And now here we are on Wednesday, October 20th. The winner of this game moves on to the World Series to play the winner of Game 7 tomorrow night in the NLCS between the Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals. Take a look at the Boston lineup. It's a little different tonight with Damon up at the top, Bellhorn back in the 2 spot. Manny Ramirez in left, David Ortiz the DH, Varitek is batting 5th, Nixon, Millar, Miller, and Cabrera. Ineffective in his Game 3 start in this ALCS was Kevin Brown. He lasted only 2 innings, allowed 4 runs on 5 hits, but he's here on short rest and ready to take on Boston.
And the Red Sox batted around in the 2nd inning against Kevin Brown at Fenway Park. A look at the scouting report. He throws from all different arm slots, his danger zone, and he proved it in Game 3. Down and in to left-handed batters. He's going to have to stay away from that area in this game tonight.
Johnny Damon first up. Ball 1 up and in. Home plate umpire is Randy Mars, the crew chief. We all thought the umpires handled a couple of difficult situations brilliantly last night. The men in black. A 1-1 count. Only 3 for 29 in this series in the hole 1 and 2. Damon stays alive. First 18 career postseason games for Johnny Damon, a .342 average. His last 6, which are the 6 in this ALCS, hitting .103.
Johnny can make those all go away with a good night tonight and a Red Sox victory. Two and 2.
Game time temperature 49 degrees, but compared to last night, it's balmy, it's pleasant, there's no mist, wind not blowing as hard. Damon goes the other way and starts the night with a hit.
That's what Damon does best. With 2 strikes, he goes the other way. He did that once last night. He led the major leagues with 90 2-strike hits this year.
Baseball fans, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Number 2 hitter is Mark Bellhorn, who popped a 3-run home run in last night's game. Came in a 4-run 4th. The only scoring done by the Red Sox, but it was good enough thanks to him. Kurt Schilling, Bronson Arroyo, and Keith Folt. That's why we're all here tonight. Strike 1.
Very important for Kevin Brown to get ahead. He's always relied on so much movement. His sinker sometimes would dip about 2 feet. It's important for a guy like that to get ahead so that the hitters know that they have to swing. If he's behind, they'll be very selective and wait for their pitch.
Check on Damon.
Kevin Brown, in his first appearance at Yankee Stadium since breaking his hand back on September 3rd.
He had a start at Toronto after that miserable start at Fenway. He was a winner in Game 3 of the division series at Minnesota, and then started Game 3 at Boston, lasting only the 2 innings. Bellhorn, foul. So the count is 0-2 on Bellhorn. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Manny Ramirez on deck.
We mentioned this in Game 3 and 4 with Damon on at first base. Mark Bellhorn, the most unusual number 2 spot hitter in baseball, because he led the majors in strikeouts with 177. Normally, the number 2 hole guy's a contact hitter. Not so here.
Mark Bellhorn, a 160 career hitter here at Yankee Stadium with 2 home runs. One of those 2 coming last night. Damon's running. The pitch inside, throw down way late. Huge jump by Damon, and he gets his 5th steal of this postseason.
Huge jump, and Posada had no chance because the ball almost hit Mark Bellhorn, and Posada had to throw the ball over Bellhorn. So he had no clear passage to throw Damon out.
So it has taken Damon until Game 7 to do what he typically does atop this lineup for the Red Sox. Get on, do some running. Bellhorn will at least try and move him over. 2-2. Red Sox have done some running in this series, but Terry Francona's team doesn't like to run a ton, and they don't like to bunt.
No running, no bunting.
They like to hack. Too far inside, a full count.
You know, in the meeting with Joe Torre, he said pretty much right from the start, you'll know what you're going to get from Kevin as far as whether he's ahead or not. He made it pretty clear that whether it's his sinker or slider, Kevin has to establish early that he's getting called strikes. And then from there it can expand.
Full count on Bellhorn. One out. Wanting Bellhorn to make contact with the Red Sox. Move Damon over, and he strikes out. Now let's look at how the Yankees cover the field. This is brought to you by State Farm. Matsui, Williams, and Sheffield in the outfield. Rodriguez, Jeter, Cairo, and Clark. John Olerud took ground balls before the game for about an hour, but not in the lineup. Still bothered by that bruise on his left instep. And with Posada catching, he corralled that pitch down and in on the strikeout.
Well, and the number 2 hole rears its ugly head early as Bellhorn fails to move Damon along, and that's again one of the problems batting in the 2 hole when you strike out a lot.
Ramirez, no RBIs in this series, but seldom has he had this type of opportunity. He's got Damon at second, 1 out. You're looking at a guy who drove in 130 runs during the regular season and 7 in the division series against the Angels. Derek Lowe, tonight's starter for Boston. One ball, 1 strike.
The sinker running back over on the plate. That ball looks like it's about 3 or 4 inches outside, and Kevin throws a 2-seam fastball which moves into the righty. Started off the plate, hits the corner. Very good pitch.
trying to keep Damon close at second. And Brown ended up throwing to Cairo, who was basically in his position, not on the bag.
One problem with that, with Cairo so close to second base, it opens up the right side. Manny Ramirez is not a pull hitter. He hits a lot of ground balls to the right. That is clearly open, the right side of the infield.
Ramirez grounds it under the glove of Jeter. Damon is coming to the plate. The throw by Matsui. Cut off. Jeter's throw. Got him.
Design play. Matsui throws it immediately to Jeter because he saw Damon hesitate at second base. And that hesitation cost Damon and the Red Sox a run. Terrific play by Derek Jeter on the relay. Matsui gets it to him immediately. You will not see that type of relay more than 3 or 4 times. Watch the delay right there. Once he does that, you've got to hold him at third base. Ball's hit too hard.
Posada, a good job of blocking the way for Damon. And here's Ortiz. He rips one into right field. Back at the wall, 2-0 Red Sox. You talk about picking up your ball club after losing a runner at the plate. Ortiz has done that all year, all October, and he goes deep to put Boston out in front.
Mount Everest strikes again.
He is unbelievable. Last night was held hitless 0 for 4, and he didn't wait long tonight to break that.
Down and in. Remember on the scouting report, we said that that is the area that Kevin Brown has to stay away from. The ball down and in, and that ball, a picture-perfect pitch for Ortiz.
Varitek takes a strike. That for Ortiz, his 4th home run of this postseason, his 3rd of this series. Gives him 11 RBIs against Yankee pitching.
Another reason, Joe, that you've got to hold Damon at third base. The delay was considerable by Johnny down there. He thought Jeter had a chance to make the play. Plus, you've got David Ortiz, the hottest hitter in baseball, arguably, along with Carlos Beltran. No place to put him either, unless you want to walk him intentionally.
The 1-ball, 2-strike pitch, Varitek. One after a high fastball. The Red Sox come rolling into this game 7. After winning the last 3, Ortiz won game 4 with a home run, won game 5 with a base hit in the 14th inning into center. And after Bellhorn had a big swing last night and Schilling did his thing on the mound, Ortiz puts Boston up in the 1st inning tonight. And it's still 1-2 on Varitek. Varitek hits it foul. Al, I thought it was interesting what you talked about prior to the game. You were in the same type situation, being on the bench in '97 for the Marlins. It was Brown pitching. You guys blew the advantage in that World Series. You had the game 7. And I know your emotions were kind of torn sitting there on the bench, watching the lead in the series evaporate as you had the next game. That was Brown's situation last night, as Varitek chops it to the right side and Brown ends the inning. It started with a hit by Damon, another hit by Ramirez. They call him Poppy. 2-0 Boston on a home run by Ortiz. Tonight's game on Fox brought to you by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade. By America Online. Want a better internet? You belong in America Online. And by new M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave. So after Derek Jeter made that play, and Jeter doing his usual October thing, cutting down Damon at the plate, Ortiz hits the home run to make it 2-0 Boston. And Tim, here's a guy who was ready to let the world know how disappointed and upset he was that he had fallen into the bullpen in October for the Red Sox, and he gets the ball in Game 7 at Yankee Stadium.
Pitching 5 1/3 innings at Fenway Park. He needs the defense behind him, particularly the infield, because he throws so many ground balls.
Derek Lowe was a 21-game winner in 2002. Won 17 the next year, 14 this year. He's a free agent to be. He was very open about how frustrated he was with Terry Francona and Dave Wallace that he was not in the postseason rotation. Well, he's the center of attention now. And he jams Jeter with a fly ball to center for Damon. One away, Rodriguez coming up. We look at the rest of the New York lineup. Jeter, Rodriguez, then Sheffield. Matsui, who has owned Derek Lowe over the years. Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada. Kenny Lofton is back in the DH spot for 2 reasons: to get a little more speed in the lineup and to get Sierra on the bench, to have him come up in the right spot for Joe Torre. Then Clark again and Cairo at the bottom. Here's Rodriguez. Here's ball 1. A-Rod took Lowe deep 3 days ago with a 2-run home run. One ball, 1 strike.
One of the big reasons that the Yankees won the first 3 games, the first 4 hitters were so productive. One of the big reasons the Red Sox won the last 3 games, they curtailed the offense of the big 4 of the Yankees.
And that includes A-Rod.
Yep. Jeter through Matsui, 491 through the first 3 games. And look at the numbers over the last 3.
Rodriguez now, Sheffield on deck. To the third baseman, Miller. Throws on the run, 2 out. Take a look at how Boston covers the field with tonight's Boston Red Sox defense, brought to you by State Farm. Ramirez, Damon, and Nixon in the outfield. Miller, Cabrera, Bellhorn, and Millar on the infield. Varitek, whose body I'm sure is worn down by this point. It's the end of a long series, and Derek Lowe on the mound. 2 out. Here's Sheffield.
What a grueling job for both catchers on both teams during this series. Posada and Varitek have caught a total of 25 hours and 36 minutes over the last 8+ days. 6 games.
With 2 out, nobody on, a strike hits the inside corner to Sheffield. We came into last night's game thinking if there was going to be a Game 7, Wakefield would get the start for the Red Sox. Boston did not have to use Derek Lowe last night in relief. Here he is starting Game 7. but Wakefield is out in the bullpen if needed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Terry Francona believes Derek Lowe can go deeper into the game than Tim Wakefield can at this point because of all the work. 1-2.
Yeah, Wakefield has thrown 108 pitches over the last 3 days, and he's 40 years old. Good breaking ball from Lowe. That was Lowe.
Now Lowe wants to talk to Varitek. Varitek says, forget it. Just figure it out yourself. I'm tired. Tim just said, I've caught more than 25 hours.
25 hours and 36 minutes.
He called Varitek out, and then Varitek didn't go.
I've been out there enough. Sorry.
Here's a 1-2. 2-2.
Well, Lowe coming back with 3 days rest. Very similar to Brown in that he's a sinker ball pitcher, primarily relying on movement in on the right-hander. And in many instances, they think of sinker ball pitchers with less rest. They have more movement, can be more effective.
Here's 2-2. Sheffield takes it in the dirt. On deck is Matsui. Lowe was a savior for the Red Sox last year in Game 5 of the division series out in Oakland, coming in to get the save. He's the former Red Sox closer. His 3-2 to Sheffield. Got him looking. We go to the second inning, Game 7. 2-0 Boston on the home run by Ortiz. First pitch down and in to Trot Nixon, ball 1. 2-0 Red Sox. It's been 243 days for the Red Sox since pitchers and catchers reported to spring training. 200 games. Spring training through the regular season, now the postseason. And they're looking for their first pennant since 1986 and trying to get it by making history. Down 3 games to none. Trying to come back and win the series and do it tonight at Yankee Stadium.
These teams met the first time last spring in Fort Myers right around March 10th, and the tickets to the game were being scalped in spring training. I'd never heard of that.
All the buildup. You had Alex Rodriguez in a Yankee uniform, Curt Schilling with the Red Sox. Nixon takes a strike. It's 2-1. Al, I don't want to lose the point that we talked about earlier with you having been in this situation. The situation Kevin Brown was in last night while his Yankees blew a 3-2 advantage. Looking forward to tonight's start.
Well, you have a strange feeling. You're sitting there watching, knowing that if your team loses, you're going to get the Game 7 start. So you're obviously rooting to win and move on to the World Series. But right when that happens, your whole thinking changes into, okay, I have game mode already. I'm thinking about tomorrow. What do I have to do to get these Red Sox hitters out? So you go from the thought process of going on to a World Series to having to make pitches against this lineup tonight.
Jeter to his left. Nice play for out number 1. Let's check in for the first time tonight with Kenny Albert.
Well, Joe, the Red Sox did not take batting practice out on the field prior to the game today. Many of them did hit in the batting cage underneath. Now I'm told that many of the Red Sox in their clubhouse watched the movie Miracle. Remember Michael Ruzioni of the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team threw out the first pitch over the weekend up at Fenway. And who did the Yankees bring in to throw out the first pitch today? None other than Bucky Dent.
Thanks, Kenny. He got a huge roar coming out of the dugout to throw out the first pitch to Yogi Berra, who's been involved in every pregame ceremony so far this postseason with the Yankees. Millard takes a strike. The Dent home run, 1978 in the 1-game playoff. Mike Torres, and then Dent was the World Series MVP in 1978 when the Yankees played the Dodgers. 1 ball, 1 strike. Miller on deck. By the way, one other note. Today would have been Mickey Mantle's 73rd birthday. Here's a 1-1. Millar with a base hit into center. Kevin Millar last night had 2 hits. And he's on with 1 out here in the second in Game 7.
Kevin, with that open stance, it's tough for him to reach a ball on the outside corner. And that can be a bad sign, a bad early sign for a pitcher. When a hitter like that, who has a tough time with a pitch like that, hits the ball hard up the middle. Where does Brown go to get hitters out?
Well, Kevin Millar this year is 129 on curveballs. He has a difficult time right-hander on right-hander with some depth breaking ball, something that starts on the plate and down and away. And with Kevin Brown's sinking fastball, if you saw that replay, he was trying to go outside corner and it leaked a little bit on the outer half.
Now it's Bill Miller. 6 for 26, only 1 RBI this postseason. 6 hits in this series. Takes low.
This is a much tougher game to manage if you're Joe Torre or Terry Francona, because your decision about the effectiveness of your starter has to be made much earlier than it would normally be made during the season.
Too far inside 2-0, and it's worth pointing out again that the Yankees have Vasquez out there, El Duque out there, Messina is available tonight, then Sturtz, Loaiza, Quantrill, Gordon, Rivera, Heredia from the left side. And the Red Sox have everybody, including Pedro Martinez. The only guy not available is obviously Schilling. 3-0 from Brown. When you're dealing with starters in your bullpen, you have to get them ready and get them started earlier, getting loose than you typically would a reliever. So as we look down now, the Yankees get action going in their bullpen.
That's an excellent point, Joe.
You'll see a lot of managers, because of that, Joe, they'll have one of their relievers to try to get out of a jam and then start the next inning, assuming that, say in this case, Vasquez can give him 3 or 4. So you might burn a true reliever early in giving him more time, Vasquez.
Here's a 3-0 to Miller. That's a strike, 3-1. Vasquez was the guy who picked up for Brown in Game 3 at Fenway. He threw 96 pitches, got the win, and really settled the game down for the Yankees. Good work by Vasquez, who really suffered through a very poor second half of the season. 3-1. 2 on with 1 out. A hit and a walk. We've heard Joe Torre a number of times talk about this very situation. He had to do it last year with Mike Messina, but if he can avoid it, likes to keep a starter to begin an inning, as you talked about, Al. And now Kevin Brown is working his way into trouble here, where Vasquez may have to come in the second with men on base, and that would be less than ideal for Mel Stottlemyre and Joe Torre.
Well, you wonder about his decision making, because if you look back at Game 3, this is almost carbon copy. Kevin went 2 innings. He ended up giving up 4 runs, but not after some damage. And he did get out of the inning, and Vasquez started the 3rd.
It's 2 on 1 out here, and a hot hitter, and the number 9 hitter for the Red Sox, Orlando Cabrera, digs his way in.
Well, that little trip to the mound by Mel Stottlemyre bought time for Vasquez, and that was the only reason that Stottlemyre went out there.
Kevin Brown started this season 5-0. Went on the disabled list with a bad back and that intestinal parasite. Cabrera takes a strike. Then when he got off the disabled list, he made 7 starts until he broke his hand punching a wall in the clubhouse on September 3rd after a loss to Baltimore. He had pins inserted in that left hand. He came back on the 26th of September to start a game at Boston and lasted only 2/3 of an inning. 1 ball, 1 strike, and right now Kevin Brown is pitching to stay in this game. In his postseason career, Brown is 0-4 in his home ballpark. And he's bounced around in his big league life. Strike 2 on Cabrera, who's hit in every game of this series.
The Yankees have had a lot of success with Cabrera when they've gotten him out on breaking balls out of a strike zone away. It's a good time for that pitch right now. Nope.
2-2. Of all the guys we've seen come to the plate for the Red Sox, Al, I know you've questioned the pitch selection the Yankees have used with Cabrera more than any other hitter.
Well, maybe it's just because I faced him enough. I've seen him turn on as good a fastball as anybody can throw in Major League Baseball. And there were a couple instances, especially when the Yankee pitchers were ahead, where they tried to sneak a fastball by.
Now it's full.
This past year, his fastball numbers were about a 293, off-speed 213. These are statistics that every pitching coach has. You go over a scouting report, you talk about it with your catcher. Numbers don't lie. He's batting nearly 300 on fastballs, 213 on off-speed, particularly the bigger break with less velocity, more of the curveball break than the slider. You go with it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera taps it to third foul. Not only is Kevin Brown pitching on just 3 days rest, but his backup, Vasquez, is doing the same. Again, 96 pitches in Game 3 at Fenway.
I think the downside of sending the runners really remote right here. It's 3-2. I mean, most managers in baseball would send the runners right here. I mean, you have a contact hitter up, you have a pitcher that's struggling, you have a 2-run lead, take more chances. I think if you don't send them, you're playing too conservatively.
Runners don't go, and Cabrera pulls it foul. The Yankees defeated the Red Sox in the '99 ALCS in 5 games. Last year in 7 games. The Pedro game, winning it in the 11th on the Aaron Boone home run, and now the Red Sox, a year later, have a chance to beat the Yankees. Go on to their first World Series since 1986. They lead 2-0 in the second, have 2 on, 1 out. That'll load the bases. So now with the bases loaded, 1 out, and Damon coming up, that's going to be it for Brown. A nightmare start for Brown and the Yankees here in Game 7. New York has to go to Javier Vasquez out of the bullpen in the second. The Yankees went out and got Kevin Brown from the Dodgers for starts like these. In Game 3, he lasted 2 innings. Tonight, an inning and a third, and he leaves with the bases loaded. And hands it over to Javier Vasquez. Another offseason acquisition from the Expos. And there are his numbers this postseason. Pitched well, not great in Game 3 at Fenway. But here's a guy who has been a starter his entire big league career. getting another chance out of the bullpen and coming in already with his team down 2-0. Bases loaded, only one out, facing the top of the lineup for the Red Sox. Last year in Game 7, after Roger Clemens got into the fourth, it was the work of Mike Messina in the fourth inning that kept the Yankees in the ball game. A game they eventually came back and won. 3 in the 8th and the run in the 11th. Vasquez trying to do the same. Damon hits it in the air to right field. Sheffield back in the corner at the wall. A grand slam. Johnny Damon. Quiet all series, goes deep. 4 more runs and it's 6-0. For 29 in this series coming in to his first at bat. He's now 2 for 2 tonight, and there hasn't been a bigger swing for the Red Sox in a long, long time.
Johnny Damon looking inside, looking fastball, getting it, and popping it out of here. Vasquez missed with that pitch, but Damon didn't.
It's 6-0 Boston in the second. And it's Bellhorn at the plate with a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. No repeat of the work done by Messina in last year's ALCS by Vasquez. That didn't take long. John Henry, the owner of the Red Sox, with earplugs in, fighting back a smile down in the seats here at Yankee Stadium. Long way to go tonight. 2 balls and a strike, now 3-1. With 1 out, a walk. So Vasquez has come in, given up a grand slam, now a walk, and the batter will be Manny Ramirez.
And again, Joe, your point about a starter normally warming up as a reliever, coming in to an inning with the bases loaded, no less, to pitch to a contact hitter. And did Damon ever deliver immediately?
One on, one out. Boston looking for more. Manny Ramirez up. He takes a strike. The Yankees and their fans wondered about the starting pitching heading down the stretch and into the postseason. They had Mike Messina, who has pitched very well in this postseason. They got a very good start from Lieber in the division series and in Game 2 of this ALCS. Last night, Lieber was the losing pitcher hooked up with Kurt Schilling. And now with this mixture of guys like Vasquez and Kevin Brown and others, the loss of Clemens, Pettit, David Wells, and the effect on this Yankees team is becoming more and more evident here as the Boston Red Sox try to make history by being the first team to come back down 3-0 and win a postseason series. One on, one out, 2 balls and a strike. There were holes on this Yankee team all season, but for the most part, they were able to slug their way through and win the division with 101 victories on the year. The Boston Red Sox pitching, in particular the bullpen, the last 3 games, has done the job. The Red Sox bats are coming alive. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Ramirez.
And the irony of that was the Boston bullpen has done the job over the last 3 days after being pummeled in Game 3, 19-8. And the Yankees had 19 runs and 22 hits. Since that day and that night, it has been all Boston.
Runner at first, 1 out. Bellhorn is going. Ramirez fouls it. The Red Sox with all of the momentum heading into this game. They jumped on Brown early with a hit by Damon, a stolen base. Bellhorn struck out. Ramirez a base hit. Damon was thrown out at the plate, but Ortiz popped a 2-run homer. And now here in the second, the Red Sox are already into the Yankee bullpen, and Damon has a grand slam. Ramirez on 3-2. Runner goes, and Manny was jammed. Shallow left center. Jeter out. 2 down. David Ortiz walking to the plate. And you look at his walk-off home run. Division Series Game 3. That put the Red Sox in this series. Game 4, 12th inning. And another walk-off hit against Loaiza. Game 5 in the 14th. And then tonight, after the Red Sox lost a runner at the plate, he puts Boston on top 2-0. Ball 1 up and away. A .429 average in this series. Ortiz out in front of it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Vasquez trying to give Ortiz some different look. Good changeup in the right spot.
One ball, 1 strike. Bellhorn at first. 2 out. Ortiz is jammed. That's off the glove of Vasquez to end the inning. An inning that featured a grand slam by Damon. And this Yankee Stadium crowd shell-shocked. Hideki Matsui first up for the Yankees. In the mode now of trying to chip away at a 6-0 Boston lead in the second. Matsui, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada. The Yankees, the best come-from-behind team in Major League Baseball history this season with 61 come-from-behind wins, plus 4 in the postseason. How will Derek Lowe pitch with a 6-run lead? Bellhorn to his right, gloves and throws, 1 out. We keep talking about the Red Sox making history. And the numbers. 25 times it's happened in Major League Baseball. The team has failed to come from behind to win the series. The NBA 73 times, and in the NHL 2 times, compared to the 138 opportunities when that team failed to win.
And as you mentioned last night, no team has ever forced a Game 7 being down 3-0. And here the Red Sox are up by 6 in the bottom of the second.
There's not one fan of the Red Sox in New England or anywhere else comfortable with a 6-0 lead in the second inning at Yankee Stadium in Game 7. To his left, Cabrera. They had Williams played perfectly. 2 out. Let's go down to Kenny Albert.
Well, Joe, 1975, a magical year at Fenway Park. It was also the last time a team in any pro sport came back to win a series after losing the first 3 games. The New York Islanders did it against Pittsburgh. The final score in Game 7, 1-0. The winning goal scored by a former Boston Bruin, Eddie Westfall.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Kenny. Eddie Westfall. And I knew Kenny would get a hockey note in there at some point.
Absolutely.
With 2 out and nobody on, here's Jorge Posada. 7 hits in this series.
Eddie Westfall not only played for the New York Islanders, but played for the Boston Bruins, too. Hugely popular in New York and Boston.
With 2 out, Posada hits it foul. The Yankees have never lost in LCS since the format was expanded to 7 games in 1985. Joe Torre and the Yankees, since Joe got here in '96, are 6-0. And it's hard to believe we showed you this note last night. This is the 6th time in Yankee history that they've hosted a Game 7. I should look at Veritek and Lowe. The simplest of exchanges. Missing. The Yankees at home hosting Game 7 are 2-3 in their history as the count goes to 1-2 on Posada. Last win was last year. Here's a 1-2 from Lowe. 2-2. Now it's full.
Number one thing in your mind, if you're Derek Lowe, with the 6-run lead, do not walk anybody.
Kenny Lofton, the DH, is next. A walk to Posada. And the Yankees have their first base runner of the night. Just a reminder up at the top of your screen, NLCS Game 7, Houston at St. Louis. 8 Eastern, Roger Clemens against Jeff Suppan. Each closer in Game 6 tonight went 3 innings. And Game 6 was won on a home run by Jim Edmonds. And now with 2 out, here's Lofton. Joe Torre starting Kenny Lofton. As much for what Kenny can do in the starting lineup, with an eye on what Ruben Sierra can do coming off the bench in the right spot. Lofton, a swinging bunt. Veritek inning over. A walk, a runner stranded. We go to the 3rd inning. Game 7, Boston batting. They lead it 6-0. Javier Vasquez relieved in the 2nd. He starts the 3rd. Veritek, Nixon, and Millar for the Red Sox. Up 6-0. And ball 1. At one point, the Boston Red Sox were 10.5 games back, chasing the Yankees. They got as close as 2.5 games out, finished 3 out. In this series alone, they've stared down these Yankees in the Yankee bullpen, and in particular Mariano Rivera. They have not been intimidated. They've come up with enough to force Rivera into back-to-back blown saves. The relief pitching has been good to get them deep into extra inning games with chances to get it, I guess, to Ortiz so he could win the game. And that barely misses. Tight strike zone from Randy Marsh tonight. 3 balls and a strike. Red Sox came into this series saying, why not us? Full count on Veritek.
And then you get down 3-0. Futile offense in the first 6 innings of games 1 and 2, where they had 2 base runners, 1 for 37. Then they are blown out of the tank in game 3.
Veritek strikes out. Good work by Vasquez to come back and get him.
And you figure, how in the world can we come back? And look where they are. High fastball gets Veritek.
It's a great job from Vasquez there. He did get squeezed there on a couple fastballs that I guess were called up, but for him to continue to go right at Veritek, that was good.
Nixon now grounded out his first time. Bounced out to short. And that was the last out that Kevin Brown picked up. First batter in the second. And a hit by Millar, a walk to Miller. Cabrera reached, and then after the pitching change, Damon hit the grand slam. Here's an 0-1. Ball and a strike. Two and one. How many Red Sox fans out there do you think at some point in the last 20 minutes just picked up the phone and called somebody and said, can you believe this? On the inside corner, 2-2.
A lot.
Might be happening right now.
From Connecticut to Maine.
They still don't look too comfortable. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nixon strikes out. Second strikeout for Vasquez. He gets him back to back.
Similar pitches. High fastballs.
Here comes Millar. Kevin got that rally started last inning with a base hit. Strike 1 to him. Millar with the whole cowboy up thing last year. This year, he and his mates calling themselves the idiots. The way they play baseball. And as Terry Francona said, sometimes we have an extra cutoff guy unintentionally. Sometimes we throw to the wrong base. But our guys love to play. We've got the hair and beards and all the other stuff. But the bottom line is they love to play this game, and it has shown through from game 4 on. Vasquez trying to make a statement on the mound and maybe get his teammates going with a perfect top of the third. It'll be Clark, Cairo, and Jeter for the Yankees in their half. Three balls and a strike. With 2 out, Millar checks it on ball 4, a 2-out walk. So with 1 on, 2 out, Bill Miller will be the hitter. You can play Hit the Pros, presented by the all-new GMC Canyon. and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN, keyword games. GMC, we are professional grade. Here's Bill Miller. Walked and scored in the second. Out in front on a changeup from Vasquez, strike one.
Good pitch by Vasquez. This is a difficult assignment. When the score is out of whack, pitchers have a tendency to just pound the zone. They'll throw a lot of fastballs, get into the count. You see here is an 0-0 changeup. In the previous at-bat, he threw curveball, 3-1 changeup to Millar. Vasquez has to continue to pitch.
That's too far inside, 1-1.
Pitch like a starter instead of a reliever.
And pitch, I would imagine, like the score is closer than it is, which is 6-0 Boston. Clark holds against Millar. Miller pops it up. Jeter out to grab it. And we go to the bottom of the third inning. Derek Jeter, who made that play, will bat for New York. Tony Clark will lead it off. Goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Manny Ramirez finds it. One pitch, one out. Derek Lowe, no problem so far. No hits so far. Walked Posada last inning with 2 out. Here comes Miguel Cairo.
In Game 4 of the 1996 World Series, Joe Torre and the Yankees found themselves trailing 2-1 in the series and 6-0 against the Atlanta Braves. And when the Yankees came in the 6th inning, Torre said, let's cut it in half. And they scored 3 runs. And the shot of that, as Cairo is hit by a pitch.
That was the guy who, after they cut it in half, evened it up.
Yeah.
Cairo more than happy to let that hit him. Here comes Jeter, and these Yankee fans want it right now. Some life here at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, they need something dramatic to happen right now.
Jeter was a rookie in that '96 season. Bernie Williams, a part of that team. Posada was on it. Girardi was the other catcher. Ball one outside to Jeter.
After Lara took the home run off Mark Wohlers, Wade Boggs won it with a bases-loaded walk in the 10th inning.
Jeter rips it foul. Third base umpire Jim Joyce was busy getting out of the way of it. Called this ball foul. Ooh, and it was barely. Again, all it has to do is go over the bag. But how good of a look at that ball could Joyce have had leaping out of the way?
If it hits any part of the line, it's a fair ball. That ball had to miss by an inch or two.
One on, one out for Derek Lowe. Boston Red Sox came into this game not knowing what to expect from Lowe. Pitching on 3 days rest. He's about to encounter the meat of this Yankee lineup. Cairo's running. Throw down by Veritek, no chance.
Well, if Javier Vasquez has to pitch like it's a close game, the Yankees offense have to run as though it's a close game. And that's what Cairo's thinking. Normally you're trailing by 6-0. You don't even think about a stolen base. Not so with Cairo.
Base hit. Cairo coming to the plate. Ramirez kicks it in left, and it's 6-1.
Derek Lowe gets a ground ball. But Jeter found the hole, and the Yankees are on the board. Cairo scoring easily once Ramirez bobbles the ball. Jeter being 5 runs down, having the Yankees 5 runs down, had to hold it first.
The Yankee captain cheering on New York as Rodriguez takes the ball. Mike Myers, a left-hander, is getting loose. With Rodriguez at the plate, Sheffield on deck, and then Matsui. And this is what we talked about for the Yankees. Middle of an inning, bringing in a reliever as opposed to a starter. Joe Torre brought Javier Vasquez in with a bases loaded and 1 out in the second, as opposed to starting an inning fresh with Vasquez, typically a starter. Vasquez gave up the grand slam. Myers is getting ready for Matsui. Here's a 1-1. That's foul. Now Leskanic joins Myers with Sheffield, the next hitter.
What Terry Francona was telling us, if he has to go to Wakefield in the middle innings, he would prefer to bridge it with either Myers or Leskanic and have Tim start the 5th or the 6th inning.
The RBI hit by Jeter is the first Yankee hit of the night.
I don't think I have ever seen Jeter have that particular type of reaction after that hit. Usually, this excitement comes in calm.
Low. Almost panicked. He looked down to second. He had no shot at Jeter. Here's Jeter's reaction after the RBI hit.
I don't think I have ever seen that expression on Derek Jeter's face.
Almost a desperate look.
Yeah.
And now it's Jeter at second with 2 out. After Rodriguez tapped out, he's 0 for 2. Here's Sheffield. Pedro Martinez is out there. The Red Sox left Pedro back in Boston after his Game 5 start to work out and get ready and be available for tonight's Game 7. He is ready and available. Sheffield hits it hard. What a pickup by Miller. Getting over. The Yankees get a run, but Lowe shuts the door on New York after that. After 3 in Game 7, Boston 6, New York 1. The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser It's game time. Fourth inning now. Red Sox batting, leading by 5 after the run driven in by Jeter in the bottom of the third. Cabrera, Damon, and Bellhorn. 9-1 and 2 for Boston. Vasquez still on the hill, and a strike. See that Vasquez has settled down into this game after coming out of the bullpen with that bases loaded situation. Damon didn't wait around. He jumped on that first pitch and ripped it into the seats in right. Now Vasquez throwing a lot of strikes. He struck out 2 in the third, and he's 0-2 on Cabrera. Leading off, Cabrera takes ball 1. Two and 2. Don Mattingly, the hitting coach now for the Yankees, who talked about that bat, the top of the flagpole in left center field. There's Don saying that the wind blows in the direction of where the bat handle points, even though the flags are blowing in from left. According to Don's theory, and who would know better, the ball should be carrying out to left, as it did here last night. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Cabrera. That's foul and out of play.
Reason for that is there is a horseshoe shape to Yankee Stadium. It's like Shea Stadium in that regard. Both New York stadiums. That is the reason that the flag that's lower near the facade blowing in, and yet the wind above the flag blowing out. So if you get it up, it'll go out.
A leadoff walk. Cabrera on base for the 2nd time tonight. What an asset he's been in this ALCS for Boston. And here comes Johnny Damon. Biggest swing of his life. A grand slam in the 2nd.
You're going to get home runs hit in this ballpark, but you just cannot walk people before those home runs. The walk and the hit batsman before the Damon home run is a killer.
There's another one into right field. Johnny Damon is going off. 3 for 3. 6 runs batted in. And it's an 8-1 Red Sox lead. Absolutely hammered into right.
Remember, Joe, we were talking in the first inning about how Damon was only 3 for 29. And we said a good game here would erase that. He's doing his best to try to erase what happened in the first 6 games.
Bellhorn now with nobody on or out.
Again, a first pitch fastball gone. 6 RBIs for Johnny Damon. Mercy.
8-1 Red Sox. It's 2-0 now on Bellhorn. Just when it looked like Vasquez had settled in, he was ahead on the count to Cabrera, lost him, gave up the home run, and now on 4 pitches walks Bellhorn. And this Yankee pitching has collapsed. 4 walks from Vasquez. Kevin Brown, the starter, went an inning and a third. Vasquez is getting pounded. And there will be more action for the Yankees out in their pen. Esteban Loaiza. Johnny Damon, a big night tonight. June 29th. Off Vasquez into the same spot. And then another one for good measure. And now tonight, 2 times again off Vasquez. And this last one, a no-doubter.
Went to shake hands with David Ortiz, and they decided to hug instead. Forego the handshake.
Here's Manny Ramirez. Ball 1. Vasquez can't find the strike zone. Ramirez tonight has singled and scored and popped up. Ortiz got the scoring started back in the first with a 2-run shot. Straight up on the infield. Rodriguez. That's the first out of the inning.
Somebody had told you before the series began that in Game 7, Manny Ramirez would not have an RBI. Number one, how do the Red Sox get to Game 7 without Manny Ramirez having an RBI? But that is the case. No ribbies for Manny. And yet the Red Sox leading in Game 7, 8-1.
He has hit in every game. He's given Ortiz chances, and David Ortiz has made the most of them. Ball 1 on a pitch that's not even close. $25 million on the mound tonight for the Yankees. $15 million for Kevin Brown and $10 for Javier Vasquez. And that combination has allowed 8 runs, 6 hits. Red Sox batting in the top of the 4th. 2-0.
On the other hand, David Ortiz might be the biggest bargain in baseball.
There's no doubt. He re-upped with the Boston Red Sox, and Theo Epstein, I would say, relatively speaking, got him for a fair deal.
Peanuts. Today's market. Expensive peanuts, but
yeah.
Peanuts.
2 balls and a strike on Ortiz. Derek Lowe has done his job as the starter. He's allowed only 1 hit so far, 1 run. He can earn himself, Derek Lowe can, a lot of peanuts with a win and a big start here tonight.
You know, this game is so much about confidence and momentum, and last night clearly what the Red Sox did and the mentality of how the Yankees had to feel driving in here today certainly was not nearly as positive as these Red Sox hitters. The whole team.
Ortiz trying to pop another. 3 balls, 2 strikes. You were talking about it earlier too, the Yankees. All last night you're thinking, I mean, we're going to have to go to Game 7. They're going to force us to a Game 7. Uh-oh. And the Red Sox couldn't wait to get to the park today, and they want to keep on scoring. 2 more walks by Vasquez, and that's going to be it. The New York right-hander. Esteban Loaiza coming in. Red Sox up by 7. Well, as opposed to Kevin Brown, who when he was relieved in the second grabbed his stuff and left the bench, Javier Vasquez is going to sit and watch and hope that his teammate Esteban Loaiza can prevent further damage. It's 8-1, the Red Sox out in front, top of the fourth inning. There are Loaiza's numbers this postseason. Runners on, Bellhorn and Ortiz. 2 of the 5 walks handed out by Vasquez in 2 innings of work. The only 2 hits that Vasquez allowed were the 2 home runs. A grand slam by Damon and a 2-run shot here in the 4th inning by Damon. One ball, 1 strike. Johnny Damon having the night of his life. Trying to help the Red Sox ride to the World Series. One and 2.
Just like in hurricanes, you see all the damage on top of the water. But the riptide of big innings are walks. And that's what's killed the Yankees tonight. Walks and Johnny Damon.
Here's a 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes for the Yankees. Largest deficit overcome to win in their postseason history, the 6 runs. And they trailed in Game 4 of the '96 World Series after 5 innings. They trail by 7 right now in the 4th. Here's a 2-2. The home run that tied it off Wohlers, off the bat of Leyritz. After a long at bat, 1 foul ball after another. A breaking ball that stayed up, and Leyritz tied the game. 6-6. Here's a 2-2. Now it's a full count on Veritek. On deck is Nixon. Runners not going, and Veritek hits it through Cairo into right. Bellhorn will hold at third, and the bases are loaded. Veritek with a rocket that Cairo couldn't handle.
Going to be scored, a base hit. This ball hit right on the button and in between hop off the left forearm of Cairo. Bellhorn had to hold up because of the line drive, holding momentarily, and had to stop at third.
They have given Cairo an error. Oh my gosh, on that ball. John Nixon takes a strike.
You give somebody an error on this ball, you've never tried to field a ball like this. Ball ate him up.
That's a tough error on Cairo. The bases are loaded. That's the bottom line, and the count's 0-2 on Nixon. Speaking of errors, this Boston team has committed only 1 error in this ALCS. The Yankees just committed their 5th of this postseason. Nixon checks it on ball 1. More runs sitting out there for the Red Sox. Trying to make it even more comfortable. Nixon strikes out, and that's a big strikeout for Loaiza. Let's go quickly down to Kenny Albert.
Well, you guys have been talking about Game 4 in '96. The Yankee hero, Jim Leyritz. You hit that home run off Mark Wohlers with the Yankees down 6-0. What was going through your mind tonight when the score reached 6-0?
Well, right now on the bench, you're sitting there going, you know what, if we can get out of this inning, hold these guys, we got a chance to come back. The Yankee offense is very strong, and they're going to be in the bullpen pretty soon, and if it comes down to a battle of the bullpens, we may have a pretty high-scoring game here.
You played for both teams, 2 rings with the Yankees, a Red Sox in '98. Are you torn tonight?
No, I'm definitely rooting for the Yankees. It's one of those things that, I had my good years here and had some great experiences. I like some of the Red Sox guys, but I'm still pulling for the Yankees.
All right, Jim Leyritz, former teammate of both Lowe and Veritek. Joe?
All right, Kenny, thanks. And so many with the Yankees, as we talked about, Bernie Williams, Posada, Jeter. Millar breaks his bat, grounds to Cairo. Good work by Loaiza. Comes in and shuts the door on the top of the 4th. But another home run from Damon. And it's 8-1 Boston after 3.5. How good has Derek Lowe been tonight as he finds the strike zone with his first pitch to Matsui? He's allowed only 1 run on 1 hit. And he and the Red Sox lead by 7. It's 8-1, bottom of the 4th inning. And a little chopper to the right side. Lowe is there for the out. Close at first. Millar left the position, and Derek Lowe was there to cover.
Good play by Millar, but a better play by Derek Lowe. He had to reach back with that little toss and find the bag. Nicely done.
That's the hardest covering first. When the first baseman is in front of you, literally you saw there, Derek had to turn around and catch it from behind him.
Here's Bernie Williams, who tapped out to short his first time. 8-1 Boston, bottom of the 4th inning. And a strike from Lowe. Bernie Williams playing in his 115th career postseason games. He has 22 home runs. Last night he went deep. And he homered on Monday in Game 5 as well off Pedro. 0-2 the count from Lowe. Williams takes ball 1. The Red Sox in this offensive explosion, 8 runs, 6 hits, have taken this, what was a raucous Yankee Stadium crowd, completely out of the game at this point. Last inning, they got something going, but after giving up the RBI hit to Jeter, Lowe came back to get Rodriguez and Sheffield, and then Boston went out and got 2 more. They lead 8-1. Bernie Williams takes high and away, 2-2.
Yankee hitters just have to keep continuing to have good at bats. Don't think of the deficit as 7 runs. Just see the ball, have a plan, get Derek Lowe to get his ball up and hit the ball solidly. You can't think of the big picture. It's got to be very small.
Bernie Williams pokes it into left. Ramirez a late break on it, 2 out. It is quiet here, thanks in large part to the job Johnny Damon has done tonight. Quiet on the streets near Fenway, Yawkey Way in Boston. But when Johnny Damon hit the home run, it was not quiet inside the cask and flagon. First pitch, a strike from Lowe to Posada. Jorge, the only walk that Lowe has issued tonight, back in the 2nd. 1 ball, 1 strike. Posada checks it. Third base umpire Jim Joyce says he went around. That's strike 2. The Red Sox have never won a decisive Game 7 on the road in their postseason history. Posada grounds to Millar. And another perfect inning put on the board by Derek Lowe. He has stepped up huge for the Red Sox tonight. So is Damon. 8-1 into the 5th. Back after this from your local Fox station. First pitch is a strike from Esteban Loaiza to Bill Miller. Miller, Cabrera, and Damon. Miller grounds one through the right side. Park got no break on that ball whatsoever. Lost his footing momentarily, and Miller is on with a leadoff hit. How about tomorrow, Game 7? We're Game 7 here tonight in the ALCS, Game 7 NLCS. And a thrilling series will conclude tomorrow night in St. Louis. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It all begins with the all-new Dodge Dakota pregame show. And it's a matchup of Roger Clemens against Jeff Suppan. Cabrera takes a ball. Started to say the Red Sox have never won a decisive Game 7 on the road. They lost Game 7 in the World Series in St. Louis in '46. The World Series in '86 to the Mets. And then that decisive Game 7 here last year at Yankee Stadium. Strike 1 on Cabrera.
St. Louis Cardinals, by winning tonight, messed up some headlines for Saturday, either in Boston or New York, because Roger Clemens would have been the starter in the town of the winner of this ball game.
That sounded weird. Ground ball to the right side. Miller down to second. What's Cabrera hitting with, an Easton? Balsa wood.
That was a clean break right there. Man.
Here's Johnny Damon.
Damon a demon tonight.
Oof. Gets some boos as he steps to the plate. He's been a one-man wrecking crew for the Red Sox. A single, a stolen base thrown out at the plate in the first inning. A grand slam to greet Javier Vasquez in the second. And a 2-run home run off Vasquez in the fourth. Has an RBI chance here with a runner at second. Miller, 1 out. Oh, what a play. Loaiza throws into the runner Miller. Miller will end up at third, and Damon just kept running. He's at second. Everything going the Red Sox way. Last night and tonight, Loaiza makes a great play. And instead of getting the lead runner at second and third, only 1 out.
Well, you've got to get it to the infielders, the guys who are used to these plays, right away. It just took too long. And Miller went back in sliding. The ball hit his spikes and went to right field.
Fielder's choice, E1 on Loaiza. That ball was headed up the middle. Loaiza stabbed it, but then made that throw. Now the infield comes in with runners at second and third, 1 out for Bellhorn. Ball 1. Bellhorn, strike 1. It's already 8-1 Boston. With the kind of speed on, a hit could make it 10-1. That's up to Bellhorn. 2-1. On 2-1, Bellhorn, strike 2.
Good cutter inside. And that's what Loaiza is going to go for here, a strikeout.
Bellhorn with a strikeout tonight and 2 walks. Just missed the outside corner, full count. Bellhorn pops it up. Jeter at the shortstop position for out number 2. So Bellhorn misses a chance to add to a 7-run lead, and now Manny Ramirez will walk in. First base open, but David Ortiz is on deck. Pretty good 1-2 punch here in the 3-4 spots for Boston. About as dangerous as any team has going right now.
More home runs than any tandem in Boston Red Sox history. 84 this year. That is saying something, considering the offensive power that the Red Sox have had over the years.
269 RBIs between them. With 2 out there for Ramirez here, and he hits it to third. Rodriguez makes the pickup to his left. The inning is over. Johnny Damon with a couple of home runs tonight. Will there be heartache in the Bronx? The grand slam, the 2-run homer, 8-1, halfway through Game 7. Trying to qualify to have a chance to get a win is Derek Lowe, pitching in the 5th inning and delivering a strike to Kenny Lofton. Bottom 3 in the lineup for the Yankees. 8-1 Boston. 2 hops, Cabrera, 1 out. Johnny Damon has had the big night tonight as Tony Clark walks in with the 2 home runs, including a grand slam. It's got to remind Red Sox fans of the night Troy O'Leary had in Game 5 at Cleveland, the decisive Game 5. He hit 2 home runs and had a grand slam. Tim, you and I were there, and that was not the biggest story of the night, even though it was nice for Troy O'Leary, and that gave the Red Sox the offense they needed. But it was the guy on the mound who came on to pitch 6 hitless innings. As Millar flips to Lowe, 2 outs.
That was Pedro Martinez. And one of the, from a Red Sox perspective, one of the great things about this big lead is that, in all probability, with the lead, you're not going to be seeing Pedro Martinez. And of course, this is the cart before the horse type thing, but Pedro would be the starter on Saturday, and then the Red Sox could come back, perhaps, with Curt Schilling either Sunday or Tuesday against the Cardinals or the Houston Astros. Long way to go, I know, in this game, but certainly a point worth consideration.
Cairo was hit by a pitch his last time up, stole the base, and has scored the only run of the night for New York. By the way, the official scorer has had a change of heart on that ball hit by Varitek in the 4th inning. That's now a base hit. And take an error off the board for the Yankees. The other error belongs to, and the only error now, Loaiza.
Just like the umpires, he convened and got it right.
Yes, they did convene. Here's a 2-0. 2 out, nobody on. Ball 3 with Jeter on deck. Only one time has Lowe had any help getting loose behind him. Three and one. On 3-1. Cairo. Smart. Taking. That's a full count. Cairo strikes out, and Derek Lowe is through 5 innings. 2 strikeouts. 1 run on 1 hit allowed. 6th inning. It's 8-1 Boston. The League Championship Series on Fox, brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months in American Revolution. By Capital One, what's in your wallet? And by McDonald's. David Ortiz first in there against Loaiza. Took over in the 4th inning. Stopped the scoring. And then last inning, pitched around a hit and an error. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ortiz tonight with a 2-run homer in the 1st. Grounded out and walked. Even with the score as lopsided as it is, 8-1. I don't think you can overlook the importance of the home run by Ortiz in the 1st inning, especially after the Red Sox had just lost Damon at the plate. Ortiz stepped up and hit the first pitch into the seats and right, and just like that, the Boston Red Sox were off and running in their attempt to win 4 in a row in this series.
Well, if there's anything that helps a starting pitcher lessen his pressure or anxiety, his early runs. And certainly, going out for the 2nd inning, Lowe having a 6-run lead, that does an awful lot for the nerves. Certainly for him to be able to calm down in fastball counts. If he did get behind, he could just pound the zone and not think that this run might be the difference between a win or a loss. Helps him relax, puts pressure on the Yankee hitters right away.
Ortiz gets out of there with a 2-2 count. Veritek will follow, and then Nixon. 3 tough left-handed bats for Loaiza to try and handle. It's a full count. Pedro Martinez may just be playing catch.
I think he's just getting his throwing in right now, looking for a start on Saturday. And he can always re-warm up if he's going in the game.
But at this point, Lowe doesn't look like he needs any help. And if you're going to rush Martinez back with 1-day arrest, why would you do it or even think about it up 8-1 in the 6th inning?
Only reason you think about it is if the Yankees score 7 runs over the next 4 innings.
1 out. Nobody on for Veritek. The base is empty, 1 down. Veritek takes the ball. It's 2-0. Al, this would typically be Pedro's side day anyway, wouldn't it? With that off day in between, 2 days after his start.
Yes. Normally you get your off day and then 2 days and then go into your start, which he'd be lined up for Saturday. I don't see him coming in the game here.
Cairo to his left. 2 out. More on that in a moment. Right now we check in with Jeannie Zelasco for a game break.
And there is nothing like a Game 7, and we're getting 2 this year thanks to Jim Edmonds. This just one of 24 combined home runs with both teams, an LCS record. Guess what? Game 7 tomorrow on Fox, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Thank you, Jeannie. Looking forward to Game 7, and here in Game 7, the Red Sox lead by 7. 6th inning. 2 out, bases empty for Nixon. Strike 1. Esteban Loaiza was the loser, although he pitched very well, really hurt by the walks in Game 5 on Monday night. He went 3 1/3 in that game that was won 5-4 by Boston in 14 innings. It was really down to Loaiza. He was the last guy in the bullpen, and he impressed Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre with the way he pitched that night. Problem for the Yankees, he's the 3rd pitcher of the evening, and he took over in the 4th. The crowd here at Yankee Stadium trying to get behind the top of the lineup for New York. Down by 7. 6th inning. Jeter, strike 1. Derek Lowe has allowed still only 1 hit. He hit Cairo with a pitch in the 3rd. Cairo stole 2nd. And Jeter drove him in. That's it. 1 walk for the only other base runner for New York. Cabrera to his left. Dominant performance to this point by Derek Lowe. America's #1 pregame show is back. This week, take a look at the Jets' best start in franchise history. Their attempt to end the Patriots streak. Plus, they'll break down the Packers' chances to get back in playoff contention. And Raiders star Warren Sapp goes 10 yards with Terry Bradshaw. Fox NFL Sunday returns this week at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I think one guy out there is getting ready to potentially come in the game. You wonder about Pedro Martinez, how realistic it would be that he would come in. Right now, Lowe doesn't look like he needs any help anyway.
I think, again, Terry Francona taking no chances and warming up Mike Myers for Hideki Matsui. Should 2 get on in front of him.
Lowe has made these Yankee hitters look off balance all night.
16 outs thus far, 2 strikeouts, and 11 ground ball outs.
Schilling went 7 last night. Lowe is trying to get through the 6th. The 0-2 to Rodriguez.
I'll tell you how momentous I think this game is if the Red Sox win. It could very easily be the biggest win in franchise history. When you think about all the disappointments, coming back from a 3-0 deficit.
Another one to Cabrera. The crowd groans as Rodriguez makes the 2nd out here in the 6th inning. Mentioned Schilling. He is our Budweiser fantasy player from ALCS Game 6. Last night, 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN. Keyword fantasy baseball. Tonight's game is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Here is Sheffield.
I know the Red Sox won the World Series 5 times in the first 15 years of their existence. But how could any of those wins, any of those World Series wins, be any bigger than this game right here?
You see some articles written about potentially breaking the curse here tonight. And That's the first time I've said the word curse this entire ALCS, but I think most Red Sox players and fans believe that that comes if and when they win the World Series. They've been in the World Series since then. They just haven't won it since 1918. But to come back from a 3-0 deficit and potentially beat the Yankees, winning 4 straight, including the last 2 at Yankee Stadium, I'll go along with you. The importance of this game in their franchise history, trying to get to the World Series for the first time since 1986. Derek Lowe has been sensational. Absolutely fantastic. He's allowed only 1 hit and 1 run. 7th inning rolls in. Still 8-1 Boston. Back after this from your local Fox station. Kevin Millar first up for Boston, 7th inning. 8-1 the Red Sox lead it. Millar, then Miller, then Cabrera. Loaiza deals and Millar hits it foul. Between innings, Derek Lowe came in and started getting hugs in the dugout, which may signify the end of his night. And if that is the end for Derek Lowe, his 6 innings of 1-hit ball, only the 1 run allowed. The only guy getting loose for the Red Sox right now is Pedro Martinez. So this could be more than just side work for Martinez. As we play here in the 7th inning, and you would think that they would use Pedro Martinez in a spot where he would almost be forced into a game or earlier in a game, as Loaiza gets Millar looking 1 out. You look at the last pitch from Derek Lowe to strike out Sheffield. And these guys, the Yankees, haven't touched Lowe all night.
No. I mean, from a baseball sense, it would seem that Terry Francona would use his bullpen before he would have to go to Martinez because of the prospects of him being able to start on Saturday. You wouldn't bring in Keith Folk right now, but you do have Mike Myers to open the inning against Matsui. It's just odd seeing Pedro come in a game right now, because if he pitches an inning or 2, throws 30 to 40 pitches, then when's he going to start? I know that's not the primary thing that the Red Sox are thinking about, but they have a 7-run lead.
Miller is on with a 1-out hit. And how many times did we hear Terry Francona say, we're not just trying to extend the series within this ALCS, we're trying to win it. Well, they're trying to win a world championship.
Right.
And you would think that if you didn't have to use Pedro Martinez when you lead by 7 and maybe more by the end of this inning, 1 on 1 out here, why would you force him into a game? He pitched 2 days ago and threw over 100 pitches.
That's right.
And they've always talked about Pedro on extra rest, trying to protect his arm. Be interesting if he comes in. Here's Cabrera, 1 on 1 out. Up the middle, 2 on 1 out. But Al, let's talk about Derek Lowe and what he has accomplished here tonight for his Boston Red Sox.
You can't say enough of how great a job he did. And what I was most impressed, in many instances, you lose the mindset of continuing to pitch. When you have a big lead, if you do get behind in counts, pitchers have a tendency to just pound the zone and just use 1 pitch. He used all of his pitches, and what made him most effective was, as a result of him being up in a big lead, he knew the Yankees either had to go deep in the count and was spotting him a strike. He would throw a little straight 4-seam fastball or cutter and come back with that sinker. He had a tremendous sinker today.
Joe Torre is going to make his way out of the Yankee dugout and make a pitching change. 2 on 1 out. Yankees already down by 7. And Loaiza right now in the conversation with Joe Torre, with the top of the order coming up. Johnny Damon will be the hitter, and they have not made the call to the bullpen yet. The lefty Heredia is out there. Now Joe Torre talking to the home plate umpire, Randy Marsh, trying to buy more time. And here comes Heredia. So the pitching change is made. Joe Torre just tried to buy Heredia a couple of extra pitches out in the bullpen. In the 7th, and the Red Sox threaten to add to their lead. Felix Heredia takes over with 2 on and 1 out. Red Sox with runners at first and second. Johnny Damon at the plate. Strike 1. The only time Damon's been retired tonight came on a fielder's choice and a ball that he hit back up the middle that Loaiza grabbed before it sailed into center field. 6 RBIs tonight for Damon. 2 home runs. And Posada keeps it at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. It is tough to go into a series if you're the Yankees facing this Boston lineup without a left-handed reliever that you really trust in your bullpen, with guys like Damon, Ortiz, the left-handed power of Varitek and Nixon. Back to Heredia. Throw to second. Out at first. Double play. And Felix Heredia avoids further damage. Pedro Martinez getting loose. Is he coming in? Time to stretch at Yankee Stadium. So while he continues to loosen, we will have the presentation of God Bless America by Ronan Tynan here at Yankee Stadium.
And welcome world-renowned Irish tenor Ronan Tynan. In honor of the servicemen and women stationed around the globe, Dr. Tynan will sing God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair. As we raise our voices in a solemn prayer, God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
The League Championship Series on Fox brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. By Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you. And by Sprint, introducing an entirely new way to buy wireless. Sprint PCS. Well, Pedro Martinez is on the mound. He takes over for Derek Lowe, who was sensational 6 innings, 1 run, 1 hit in this Game 7 start on short rest. Struck out 3, walked 1. Doug Minkiewicz takes over at first to improve the defense, and Pedro deals with Matsui. And here come the Who's Your Daddy chants again. (2-0).
Commenting further on this strange move, Al and I were talking about it between innings. Maybe Pedro asked to come in the game.
Matsui rips it down into the corner. Played off the wall by Nixon, and Matsui has the second Yankee hit of the night.
Sitting on a fastball, he got it. And here it is, the 7th inning, and the Yankees finally have an extra base hit.
Now it's Bernie Williams who homered off Martinez 2 days ago. He made the start on Monday, Game 5, that the Red Sox won in 14 innings. He left with the Red Sox trailing.
You could even understand if it's a 2 or a 3-run game. The Red Sox were up by a run, a two-run lead, a 3-run lead, but a 7-run lead.
And by bringing Pedro in the game, you get the crowd back into it.
Yeah, right.
That's a foul ball. And it's 0-2 on Williams.
Well, the only reason why we're a little confused about Pedro out here is Francona talked about how they wanted to give Martinez an extra day. On his normal 4-day rest, on the 5th day, he had certain numbers that weren't as good as 6th day. This would be his side day with 2 days off to pitch Saturday. I'm not quite sure, maybe unless he went to Francona and said, look, I want to get real work with the umpire and the crowd before Saturday. I'm not sure, but if Timlin and Leskanic are available and okay, I'm not sure about this.
The 0-2. Williams hits it into right center field. Damon on the run. This ball off the wall. Back-to-back doubles. And the Yankees are alive here in the 7th, now down by 6.
Bernie Williams gets an 87-mile-an-hour fastball and hits it hard.
Derek Lowe only threw 69 pitches and was rifling through this Yankee lineup. He comes out after 6. Back-to-back doubles. There's a strike to Posada. And with Pedro on the mound, action will start for the Red Sox in their bullpen. Timlin.
And this stadium is just come alive.
Minkiewicz, that's why he's in the game. Ball stayed down, and Minkiewicz stayed on top of it. 1 out. Runner goes to third. That's Williams. And the batter will be Kenny Lofton. So you can look at it from 2 different angles. The effectiveness of Derek Lowe, having thrown only 69 pitches, granted with short rest. And the other, the bigger picture, looking ahead to the World Series. Is that planning too far ahead when you haven't won this game? Maybe so, but you have to be planning ahead with the World Series set to start on Saturday. It was a 7-run lead. Now it's a 5-run lead. And John Olerud is going to come off the bench and bat for Tony Clark.
So a breaking ball spanked to center field by Lofton. I think if you're worried about this game, instead of putting Martinez out there, leave Lowe in the game.
Absolutely.
And instead with throwing 69 pitches, I mean, how effective do you want him to be? How much more effective can he be?
Olerud takes a strike. 89 miles per hour from Martinez. Olerud homered off Pedro Martinez in game 2. One ball, one strike. Three hits in the inning. One out. Pretty good rip for a guy who hasn't played the last 3 games. It's 1-2.
The irony of last year compared to this year, last year, whether to take Pedro out of the game or not. This year, whether to put him in the game.
And staying with the starter too long, as opposed to maybe not staying with the starter long enough. The 1-2. Timlin ready to go if Francona wants to go that way. It's Olerud now. It's Cairo on deck. Let's go to Kenny Albert.
So much made of Curt Schilling prior to this series, talking about shutting up 55,000 New Yorkers. Well, I'm down here next to the Yankee dugout, and Pedro Martinez has woken up 55,000 in this crowd.
They are back in it. The Yankees are trying to climb back into the game, now trailing by 5. Lofton takes off, throw down. Safe.
Jason Varitek did everything he could to throw out Kenny Lofton. Quick throw, strong throw, safe at second.
Two out. 95 from Pedro Martinez.
Talk about reaching back for a little extra. He certainly did that on that high fastball to Olerud.
Now it's Cairo. Good pitch off the hands, 93. Strike one. Timeout called at the plate by Varitek, who wants to talk.
Pedro's last 3 fastballs, the one that before he struck Olerud out was 97, just missed away. 95 he struck out Olerud, and the last one was 94. You wonder, you know, the pregame warm-up for a starter can be as long as 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You wonder, did he get enough? Was the routine what he's accustomed to as a starter?
Two out in the inning, and the 0-1 to Cairo. Well, he is letting it fly. This is old Pedro velocity. Showed you the highlights of that 6-inning no-hit effort in the '99 Division Series. Game 5 at Cleveland. And he was throwing like this back then. So if he was holding back on the first couple of hitters, he has gone full throttle here with Olerud and now Cairo. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have missed a number of opportunities the last few innings to really blow it open.
Because of that, this is the biggest out of the game thus far.
In the air to right field, Nixon is there. The inning is over. Martinez gives up 2. The crowd climbed back into it. Martinez stopped it there, and after 7, it's 8-3 Boston. First pitch swinging is Bellhorn, and against Gordon, the new pitcher for the Yankees, Bellhorn fouls it out of play off to the right. We're in the 8th inning now, and it's an 8-3 Boston lead. Tom Gordon has been hit hard this postseason after putting together a tremendous regular season for Joe Torre. A career high in appearances. Very valuable Yankee during the regular season. Saw Olerud, he stays in the game at first. And Bellhorn takes the ball outside. Heredia went 2/3 of an inning. Got the double play ball. Loaiza 4 shutout innings on 4 hits. 2 strikeouts, no walks. Bellhorn hits it into right. It's fair, it's gone. It is gone. Home run, Bellhorn. His second in as many nights and his 3rd ever here at Yankee Stadium. It's 9-3. And any momentum that the Yankees just picked up in the bottom of the 7th is taken away with 1 swing by Mark Bellhorn.
Oh, was that ball hammered?
Let's listen to it hit the fence, running alongside the foul pole.
Is that how it sounds?
That's how it sounds. Sounded like an accident in the kitchen at Il Molino. Here's out number 1 here in the 8th. With the bases empty, 1 down, here's Ortiz. Watch out for that tray.
The worst sound I've ever heard.
With 1 out, nobody on. Here's David Ortiz. Strike 1. Ortiz tonight with a 2-run homer. He's grounded out twice and walked.
If anybody was napping, that for sure woke him up.
Oh.
Get your attention, won't it?
Wake up crying listening to that. With the bases empty, 1 down. Ortiz way out in front of that pitch. 0-2. 80 miles per hour from Gordon. Now Timlin is getting loose. So the Pedro Martinez experiment could be a 1-inning affair. I'll say this, after giving up the 2 runs, Pedro Martinez kicked it up another notch. Ortiz off the end of the bat, shallow center. Long run for Bernie Williams, and Jeter. What a play by Jeter. 2 out.
Jeter with his back to home plate.
The only one that could get there, and Derek Jeter made the play. 2 down, and Veritek will be the hitter. Veritek with a hit tonight. 1 for 4. 9 out of 27 in this series with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Game 4 of this series on Sunday night. The Yankees had the lead with the Red Sox batting in the bottom of the 9th inning. A fresh inning for Rivera, who had taken over in the 8th. Rivera walked the leadoff man, Kevin Millar, and the Red Sox pinch ran with Roberts. He stole second and scored on a base hit up the middle by Bill Miller to tie it. Then great relief work the rest of that night by this Red Sox bullpen, predominantly Leskanic, who ended up with the victory. A game that was won in the 12th inning on the home run by David Ortiz. And then the next night, the Yankees blew a 4-2 lead as the Red Sox got 2 in the 8th inning. A home run by Ortiz to make it a 1-run game. A sac fly off the bat of Veritek, the guy at the plate here, with Rivera on the mound again. It's a blown save, albeit a situation where he came in with 1st and 3rd and nobody out. But then the Red Sox went on to win that game in the 14th inning, winning last night here at Yankee Stadium 4-2 behind Schilling, Arroyo, and Folk. And now leading here in Game 7, 9-3 in the 8th. Veritek in the air to left from Matsui. Game 7 is headed to the bottom of the 8th. For the Yankees, it'll be the top of the lineup. They trail Boston in Game 7, 9-3. Boston Red Sox were favored coming into this ALCS, taking on the Yankees. But after the Yankees went up 3-0 and having a lead in Game 4, this comeback has been amazing, history-making. If the Red Sox should hold on and win this Game 7, I've said a couple of times already tonight, they'd be the first team in baseball history down 3-0 to come back and win a postseason series. They put Pokey Reese in the lineup to improve their defense at second base. And Joe Torre's Yankees are on the verge of a colossal collapse if they can't come up with 6 runs before the Red Sox get 6 outs. For as staggering as it would be for the Red Sox to come back down 3-0, it is amazing to think of this Yankees team, which has had so much success against the Red Sox and so much success in the postseason under Joe Torre, blowing a 3-0 series advantage. 2-0 from Timlin, the third pitcher of the night for the Red Sox.
Except the way to do that is when you do not have a strong pitching staff. The Yankees started the season with poor starting pitching, and they could be ending the season tonight with poor starting pitching. It's the toughest thing in the world to replace during the season, and Brian Cashman, their general manager, knows that.
3-0 is the count on Jeter. Rodriguez and Sheffield, the next two hitters. 3-1.
Well, we posed early the question, could this be the best win in the Red Sox history? Could this be the worst loss in the Yankees history?
Interesting question.
Of course, not just within this game, but over the past 4 nights. 3-2 pitch. Jeter grounds to third, fair ball. Miller, long throw, and there's Minkiewicz. Digging it out for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th. What a play.
The human vacuum cleaner sucks up another one. This is a terribly tough hop in between, and watch the stretch and the grab.
So Timlin comes back from a 3-0 count to get Jeter. And Derek Lowe, who's in line for a Game 7 win, be the biggest win of his life, cheering from the bench. Former Gold Glove Award winner with the Twins. A guy who was added at the trading deadline, and now this is his role. Coming off the bench with the late inning relievers trying to improve the defense, whether it's Timlin here in the 8th. A lot of times he enters with Folk in the 9th. 1 ball, no strikes on Rodriguez, who has hit the skids in this series. 1-1. 0 for 3 tonight. Last night had 1 hit, a single. Hitless in Game 5 the previous night. 2-1.
Terry Francona telling us before the start of Game 4 that even if Derek Lowe can't stand me and wants to use that as an incentive to go out and win, that's fine with me. Sox were down by 3. Lowe pitched very, very well in Game 4. Better tonight with more run support. And the first hug he got in the dugout was from Terry Francona.
I'm with you all the way. Here's a 3-1. Full count from Timlin. Even as late as last night before the game, reporters asked him, Derek Lowe, do you know if you're going to pitch in Game 7? Have they told you anything? Lowe's response was, why would they start now? Still bitter. But he made the most of his start tonight in Game 7. 6 innings, 1 run, 1 hit. Then Pedro. Now Timlin. 2 out. Tonight's game on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by America Online. Want a better internet? You belong at America Online. With 2 out, the base is empty. Here is Sheffield. It's interesting to watch Rodriguez make that last out and think about this past offseason. How close the Red Sox came to getting Alex Rodriguez. There's the response at the cask and flagon. That was the greatest bar. We've got cameras in 2 bars. Wow. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 out, nobody on here in the 8th inning. Rodriguez so close to becoming a member of the Red Sox. $12 million difference. Sheffield went around strike 2. The addition of Schilling, who was brilliant last night. Manny Ramirez staying with the Boston Red Sox. Garcia Parra staying until the trading deadline this year, ending up with the Cubs. Cabrera added. And now the Boston Red Sox are 3 defensive outs away from their first trip to the World Series since 1986. What a night for the Red Sox here at Yankee Stadium. Let's go to the 9th. 9th inning now, and Trot Nixon is first down for Boston. He takes a strike from Tom Gordon. Nixon, Minkiewicz, and then Miller. A 9-3 Red Sox lead. Good rip by Nixon, 0-2. Gordon came on in the 8th, gave up the home run to Bellhorn. One of 4 home runs hit tonight by Boston. Started in first, happened again in the 2nd on the grand slam by Johnny Damon. He popped a 2-run homer in the 4th, and then the Bellhorn shot in the 8th. And you can forget the first 6 games of this ALCS for Johnny Damon. What he did here in Game 7 will be remembered by Red Sox fans forever. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. So the Red Sox, who came to New York, played at Yankee Stadium last year in the ALCS, came in trailing 3-2, won Game 6, and lost Game 7 in a heartbreaking fashion, trying to flip the tables on the Yankees and give them a taste of it. Here's a 2-2. Nixon checked his swing, a full count. Timlin worked the 8th. That's him pacing in the dugout. There's nobody up in the Red Sox bullpen right now. He may head back out there. Nixon leading off. Starts it with a hit. Johnny Damon, the hitting hero tonight for the Red Sox, talks about his toughest moment in the big leagues.
I would have to say losing the ALCS last year. You know, we were so close. That game, you can never forget. You know, we were real close, and then the Yankees came back, and that's what they do. That's why they've been a great team all these years, and that's why there's a little more extra incentive for us this year. We don't want that feeling again.
He has done his part to make sure they don't have that feeling again as Minkiewicz hits it foul. Minkiewicz 1 for 3 in this ALCS, and in the postseason 3 out of 7. People around New York, if the Yankees complete this collapse, and it would be the biggest collapse in postseason history, up 3-0 on the Boston Red Sox, with Boston trying to win 4 in a row and win the final 2 here at Yankee Stadium. We'll be wondering what the reaction will be from George Steinbrenner. What will he do? The fact that it's Boston makes it even worse for the boss.
And I'm not too sure that the Red Sox coming back like they have belongs in the miraculous category, but it is an overwhelming accomplishment.
They're still 3 outs away from that defensively. They lead it by 6 here in the 9th inning. 1 on, nobody out, and Minkevich flies it into shallow left. That ball might drop. It does drop. A fair ball. 2 on, nobody out. So Minkevich gets his 2nd hit of this series, and Tom Gordon continues to struggle, albeit on a flare hit into left.
Yeah, the Red Sox, meanwhile, thinking, let's sew this baby up. Put another crooked number on the board.
Well, you look at this Yankee bullpen. All year long, Joe Torre had to rely on a lot of work from 3 guys. They never had the left-hander, the Stanton-type left-hander. So it was Quantrill, Gordon, and Rivera. Quantrill seemed to run out of gas in the 2nd half of the season. Gordon set a career high for appearances, as did Rivera. And Rivera has blown a couple of saves back-to-back games in this ALCS. He's getting loose right now as Gordon is in trouble in the 9th inning. 2 on, nobody out. Bill Miller at the plate. And Miller flies one into center field. Nixon will tag. He will advance to 3rd. The throw is in towards 2nd. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. So Miller, a productive out. Puts an extra run 90 feet away with only 1 out. Here comes Cabrera. Red Sox, as reported by Kenny Albert, were watching the movie Miracle about the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team prior to tonight's game. Some hit in the cage. They didn't hit out on the field. They came out of the gates hitting tonight. 3 hits in the 1st, including a home run by Ortiz. Strike 1 on Cabrera.
That old George Carlin line comes to mind now. No one says it's only a game when they're winning.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Orlando Cabrera. Strike 2. Back-to-back hits. Nixon, then Minkevich. Miller flying to deep left center. Cabrera fights it off. Is it fair to put this series and this comeback on this list? Clay beats Liston. Jets beating the Colts in Super Bowl III. The '69 Miracle Mets, a USA Olympic hockey team. 85 Villanova over Georgetown. Probably not because the Red Sox were favored coming into this series, but within this series, after falling behind 3 games to none, it has been a monumental task and a great effort by Boston. There have been moments where they have been literally a pitch away, a defensive play away, a base hit away from being bounced out of this playoff by the Yankees, and here they are 3 outs away and just squirming in that dugout trying to get to the World Series.
A stolen base away, as Dave Roberts proved.
The 0-2. Ball 1.
A double down the line, Sierra in Fenway that just went over the fence for a ground rule double.
There have been a few moments in this series where a play could have gone either way and it went the way of the Red Sox. Even last night, the 2 calls and the reversals by this umpiring crew. One on the home run by Bellhorn and the other on that play down the first baseline. on the ball hit by Alex Rodriguez as he knocked it away from Bronson Arroyo. Now you mentioned the Tony Clark double with Ruben Sierra starting that play at first base, blazing around the bases, would have scored, but the ball hopped out of play. And the Yankees didn't score. The Red Sox went on to win a couple of innings later. The 1-2. Cabrera flies it into center field. That's going to get Nixon home. Trot tags and trots. And it's 10-3 Boston. And now it's the Red Sox fans making all the noise here at Yankee Stadium. And here comes Joe Torre out to bring in Rivera. The Red Sox have matched their biggest lead of the night. Rivera coming in. And at this moment, the Red Sox could care less. It's October and the Major League Baseball postseason coming down to the wire. Every game, every inning, every play counts. Watch the World Series on Fox starting October 23rd. That's Saturday. Don't miss it. One of the reasons why the Red Sox are sitting where they are, even in this series, and tonight on the verge of getting to the World Series, is because they didn't fear Mariano Rivera. They respect him. But Rivera coming in and blowing back-to-back save opportunities. And since July 24th, when Bill Miller took him out of Fenway Park, Rivera is 0-2 with a 5.79 ERA against the Red Sox. Now some Yankee fan or some fan from the upper deck takes that foul ball that Damon just hit and throws it all the way back onto the field. It almost got Damon. Strike one from Rivera. That happened right above us to our left, and they have the people that threw that ball back onto the field, and they're carting them out of Yankee Stadium. So Damon fouls off another in hopes that it isn't coming back his way. The count's 0-2. Ball one high. Because of the presence of Rivera starting in Game 4, and for good reason, Terry Francona managed the remainder of this series brilliantly. You can always argue with a move here or a move there, but he knew the urgency. He knew the presence of Rivera in the late innings. He didn't mess around with the 6th and the 7th. And now here are the Red Sox taking the field, bottom of the ninth, leading 10-3 in Game 7. Mike Timlin will try to get the final 3 outs. Bottom of the 9th inning. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters. 3 guys who helped carry the Yankees early in this season to that series. 3 games to none series lead. Matsui was right in the middle of it. 5 RBIs in Game 1. His night in Game 3, that 19-8 win at Fenway Park. He and the guys around him in the Yankee lineup have been shut down for the most part the rest of the way. Games 4, 5, 6, and now 7. One ball, one strike.
Talked about it on the opening. A lot has been said about how hitters adjust to pitchers. Well, pitchers adjust too, and the bullpen and starters of the Red Sox adjusted to the first 4 hitters of the Yankees. And I mean just shut them down from Game 4 through Game 7.
2 balls and a strike. Hideki Matsui rips it into right field. Nixon will play it off the wall, and Matsui will hold it first for the leadoff single. A 10-3 Boston lead, and Bernie Williams walks in. Bronson Arroyo is getting loose, the right-hander, alongside Alan Embry. After this game, we will have the post-game celebration by one of these two clubs. The trophy presentation and interviews from Yankee Stadium. Bernie Williams takes ball one. Time called as yet another baseball is on the field. Game 7 tomorrow night, NLCS, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Roger Clemens and Jeff Suppan. The winner of that game will play the winner of this game. The 1-0. 2-0. Bernie Williams tonight 1 for 3. Timlin needing to throw a strike. Williams was willing to take one. It's 2-1.
Tim, you mentioned about the adjustments. In the last 4 games, the 1 through 4 batters are batting 167 collectively as a team. There was a lot of adjustments going on. Some good quality pitchers being made.
Dave Wallace, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, a guy who doesn't get probably enough credit. The job he's done with this group. He's taking over midway through last year for Tony Cloninger. 3 balls and a strike now on Bernie Williams. Full count.
The Boston bullpen, their effectiveness is certainly exemplary, but the one thing they've shown more than anything is their tenacity, the point of exhaustion, particularly in the 2 extra inning game, 12 and 14 inning game. In that 12 inning game, the Yankees had their leadoff runner on 5 of the last 6 innings and didn't score. They didn't score for 8 straight innings in the 14-inning game.
Williams grounds to second. Reese gets the lead man, and that's it. When Terry Francona was with the Oakland A's last year, he saw firsthand the kind of performer and the kind of professional athlete Keith Folk was. And when the question was posed to him during the interview process, when he was interviewing to become the Red Sox manager, they asked him, what do you think about Folk? And he said, well, if I'm coming to the Boston Red Sox, get Keith Folk. He's the kind of guy that's willing to pitch every day, no matter the situation. Posada pops it up. The Red Sox are 1 out away. It would be Boston's first pennant since 1986. Their first postseason series victory over the New York Yankees. They would become the first team in baseball postseason history to come back from a 3-0 deficit to win the series. They can close it out here at Yankee Stadium. Ball 1 to Kenny Lofton. Taking second is Bernie Williams on fielder's indifference. What an amazing performance last night by Curt Schilling. Arroyo out of the bullpen, and Folk yet again. And tonight, Derek Lowe got the ball. 6 innings, 1 run, 1 hit. And his teammates went to work with the bats. Ball 2, 2-0. Red Sox can't wait to explode out of that dugout. It'll start a celebration throughout New England that will last until Saturday when the World Series begins. A 4-pitch walk to Lofton, and Olerud will be the hitter. Here comes Terry Francona. With Olerud coming up, Embry, the hard-throwing left-hander, is still getting loose. And not wanting it to get any tighter, Francona is going to go to Embry. 10-3 in the ninth with 2 out. These two teams have been at it for 5 straight nights. Alan Embry has been right in the thick of it this postseason and in this ALCS in particular for the Red Sox. He will deal with Ruben Sierra, who comes off the bench to pinch hit for Olerud with 2 on, 2 out. 10-3 Red Sox in the bottom of the ninth. It's midnight here at Yankee Stadium. And ball 1 is low from Alan Embry. This would be the 5th pennant for the Red Sox since that 1918 season. And here it is, ground ball to second. Reese, the Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
They'll spread the news, all right.
The Boston Red Sox earned this celebration here at Yankee Stadium with the biggest comeback in postseason baseball history. For people in New England, they will always remember where they were when the Red Sox finished off 4 in a row against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium on Wednesday, October 20th, 2004. Red Sox want to stay right in the middle of that field. And let's go down to Kenny Albert.
All right, Bedlam here on the field, guys. I'm with Johnny Damon. Johnny, first team in baseball history to come back, win a series after losing the first 3. What's going through your mind right now?
Well, we knew our team was special. Even when we got down 3 games to none, we knew we had a special team. But, I mean, I'm so proud of our guys. I mean, we stepped it up, and now we're going to the World Series. Our job's not done, but, I mean, we are very happy. A lot of people are counting us out, but not us.
For you personally, 3 hits over the first 6 games of this series, 2 home runs tonight. Take us through those home runs.
Well, you know, I hadn't been as aggressive as I was during the course of the season, so with bases loaded, I knew Vasquez was trying to sneak a fastball by me so he can start working on his changeup or whatnot. So I jumped on the first fastball, got jammed a little, but unfortunately enough, hit it out of the ballpark. Next time up, it was a fastball away, and somehow I pulled it, but great things happened today, so I'm proud. Very proud of our guys. Derek Lowe stepping up for us. Kurt Schilling yesterday. I mean, just on and on. This is a 25-man team, and we play like it.
Well, last October, it was Aaron Boone winning it for the Yankees in extra innings game 7. What message do you have for the fans watching back in New England tonight in 2004?
We're coming back home, and we're going to party for a little while, but it's going to be a great World Series, so stick with us. Never count us out. Thank you very much for supporting us all year long, and for the World Series, too. You know, we're coming home.
Johnny, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Thank you very much.
Johnny Damon, 2 home runs tonight. Joe?
Kenny, thank you. A classy guy is Johnny Damon, the igniter for this offense. He got it going. He hit 2 home runs. He drove in 6 runs tonight. Every team in Major League Baseball wants to clinch a postseason series at home. But if you're the Boston Red Sox and you have to do it on the road, where better than Yankee Stadium? The Red Sox are going to the World Series, and we'll come back with more right after this.